What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ruin an Hour, a safe place to talk about anything from sobriety, addiction, depression, anxiety, balance, and life. We are live every single day, sometimes, but usually Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we are joined today with a very, very special guest, my good friend, Lush One. He's been sober for 1 whole year. So I'd like to congratulate him because this is a fucking gigantic achievement. This is not easy to do in the slightest. Yeah, man, how are you feeling?
Feel incredible. Like I said earlier before the interwebs rudely interrupted. Just feels great being able to. I haven't seen my parents in the physical in the past year, but I'm closer with them than I ever have been. Was able to talk to my mom for an hour and my dad separately for an hour on the phone today, and we didn't even touch on sobriety that much. We just had genuine conversations. I talked to my mom about her upbringing in the Bronx, and I'm actually planning to go to New York to visit her block that she grew up on in a basement apartment on Fillmore Street in the Bronx. And me and my dad talked about jazz and our common love for music. My dad was a incredible jazz drummer back in the day, played with Miles Davis and Coltrane, and before he was in the film world and shit like that. When he was he was damn near a child prodigy. He was like 16 years old playing drum with the legends. White boy taking his drum kit from uptown all the way uptown to Harlem, and was taught by the legends. And he just to have those conversations and be able to talk to my brother. And even though I haven't seen them in the flesh, to feel closer to them than I have since childhood, it's just a testament to how much my life has changed. I went from scheming on ways I could steal from them and deceive them, and to literally not asking for anything. And it's like literally the only how I've put food on the table since I've gotten sober has been strictly through my music money and working with King of the Dot. And not saying I'm balling out of control or anything, but I'm also not spending money as foolishly as I was before, and I'm able to eat. And my fiance and I have an incredible life, and that's all the gifts of sobriety. And God willing, that will continue to increase exponentially as we move forward.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I know a lot of people always ask me, pretty general questions about sobriety, but I think the biggest one is always, what have you learned through your sobriety? Making a huge lifestyle change such as this, such a huge just measurement of growth in general. Like, what have you learned over the past year?
That the world's a lot bigger than me and my immediate wants. Maturity, caring about other people, caring about myself, but in a different way. Because I know that if I'm not good to myself, then I won't be able to go out in the world and provide for my family. And there's other people that depend on me. And when I give my word to somebody, the value that has, and just the importance of momentum and developing good habits. And because your first time going to the gym, you're gonna feel like shit. You don't want to hit those weights, and especially afterwards, when that soreness hits you and that exhaustion hits you, you're not gonna want to go back. But after you go for a few weeks, a few months, you're not gonna feel right if you don't do it. And that's the same thing with the habits that I've been developing and working on through my sobriety. And I never thought that it's not anything that interested me, because I didn't care about living long. I romanticized. I was so selfish that I didn't care how much my dysfunction or eventual death would affect anybody in a negative way. I was narcissistic to the point where I wanted people to be mourning me and caring about me and paying tribute to me, because that's concepts that feed my ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Die young, leave a beautiful corpse, and that's all I cared about. I didn't care about anything beyond immediate desires. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned in sobriety is the world's a lot bigger than me, and it feels good to actually contribute beyond things that just immediately cater to my ego and narcissism.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. It's truthfully incredible what you accomplished, dude. Like, you know, I know we talk about this a lot, but like, did you ever think you would be sitting here being like, I'm 1 year sober of everything? Like everything. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm just not
No.
drinking. It's like everything you're sober from.
Yeah, and there's a difference, and I don't. There's no judgment. Like I don't judge anybody. Oh, we got Marissa adjusting the lights out here. Let's go. Uh, she's like, you look crazy, baby. Let me see what's up. Um, it looks like I'm getting abducted by aliens. I definitely didn't. I thought that for show, at the very least, I'd be smoking weed till the day that I died. And you know what? For some people, there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't judge anyone else's process. But for me, that's a part of my addictive, destructive tendencies. And I can't just smoke weed. I don't operate like that. And even if I could, I would smoke weed to the point where I would literally be like, no one's ever died from a marijuana overdose, and it's impossible to, by the way. But I would find a way to do it because my addictive tendencies are so ubiquitous and relentless that it would, you know what I mean? I can't use anything in moderation. I don't do things. And you know, that same mechanism, that same obsessive, compulsive, just tunnel vision is what is enabled me to be successful and be able to put out music and travel the world as a result of it and feed my family as a result of my music and be successful in battle rap and, you know, start literal you know, little mini empires in this realm. And the reason why any of y'all watching this know who I am is a result of those same tendencies. But it's like a fire hose. Like, you know, like if you control a fire hose, it can put out fires. But when you don't, it's just whipping in all directions, smacking old ladies in the faces, breaking windows, you know what I mean, killing puppies. And that's essentially what I was doing. You know, never killed no puppies, but you know, that's I was and that's what my addiction looks like when it's not harnessed. And there's no way, moderation doesn't exist for me. But it's, I will say though, and this isn't coming from a place of ego, like it's a lot different to be completely sober of all mind altering chemicals. I haven't even taken a motherfucking Tylenol in you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to someone that occasionally drinks or smokes weed. It's different, but that's not to say that those people don't have it under control. Like, my life when I use any mind altering substances is unmanageable, and I can't get it together, and I'm just a fish out of water. This is the only way that I can actually be a functioning adult human being.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's a big realization to have, you know. How do you feel being sober? Like, what do you like physically feel like?
Well, you know, I'm capable of doing so much more. Like, you know, I've been lazy as far as working out recently. Haven't been in the gym, been eating a lot, and you know, I'd like to change that soon. I'm gonna start slow. You know, hit the little treadmill and some push-ups and shit, and work my way back up to gym. And but I definitely feel physically better than ever, and I feel like I live in what my boy Chris Paulson, Caddy's brother, describes as a perpetual state of readiness. Like, you could ask me, hit me up in the middle of the night to do something, and even if I'm asleep, I can wake up and, you know, I can rap for you. I could, you know what I mean, have a business conversation. I'm always ready to go. I don't need to, you know, put a bunch of chemicals in my body just to walk out the door. And for me, that's a huge improvement than what I was at before. And
Yeah.
also, you know, I feel when it comes to doing things like making music, recording, I thought that I would a lot of people that get high think that they'll lose inspiration or lose an edge. Like me, I guess I'm fortunate I can express myself pretty well. That's God given. And I have such a colorful life that I've lived, and I've gone through so much bullshit that I have like an infinite reservoir of inspiration that I can pull from just my own life and what I felt like then and the difference between then and now and what I've seen and done. So like, and I can physically like, I hear things better. My rhythm has improved exponentially. I could rap better than I ever have. I could, the things that I was passionate about, I'm able to do them on a higher level. And at first, like not necessarily with the music, but with a lot of things, it took me a minute because my brain I had to retrain my brain and recalibrate because everything that I had experienced in my life, I had only done it fucked up. I had never, had barely ever, you know, hosted a battle, talked to friends and family, hung out with people, been intimate with a woman, had sex, hadn't done these things sober barely at all throughout my life. So I kind of had to relearn how to do so many of these things. And once I did that and kind of like, it felt better than ever. And like, I actually feel things. I'm not dulling my sensations or like, so physically I feel it's incomparably better than I did. I used to wake up, literally I would wake up in tears for no reason. Wouldn't know why, but it was like my serotonin was so depleted from all the, ecstasy and meth and, dope and cocaine and just all these different chemicals that I would use just to reach homeostasis, just to reach a middle ground to be functional. Not to mention weed and drank and pills, like everything that I was doing. Like I would just wake up and be miserable and like I wanted to die. I just not like I was welcoming death and was hoping that because like especially nowadays with all the fentanyl that's going around, people that's cut in other drugs, you really don't know what you're doing nowadays. Like, and I didn't care. I was welcoming whatever the result was and was hoping that I would die with a smile on my face, and now it's like this album that I made, like it was the only thing beyond my fiance, you know what I mean? Like beyond Marissa, like this was the only thing I was living for. And I wanted to like it to be what I was remembered by if I died or when I died. And now it's like something to actually live for and be the catalyst for me to have a whole new level in my career. So it's like, it's crazy how that changes.
Yeah, your like priorities and your values shift a lot, when you get sober. And just when you make
Yeah,
big lifestyle
I
adjustments.
started having them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. It's like before, it's like maybe you're just like, I just want the next, pleasurable sensation, the next fun bit, rather than like doing something like making a mark, like, releasing an album. Even like I'm sure like your like goals within releasing artwork has shifted a little bit even too.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And like I'm able to look you in the eyes. I'm not hiding behind glasses. Like I used to have like the crazy designer shade collection. I still have it, but like some of it at least. But I don't need to like I don't wear I used to be known for wearing my frames and I don't do that now because I want people to see my eyes. I want people to see the clarity and intensity and everything else that you can discern from looking me in the eyes. I want people to actually feel that, you know what I mean? And I don't have anything to hide. I'm able to converse with people. I'm able, like, the biggest difference between me then and now is I'm dependable and I follow through with my word. And that definitely extends to my art. I would have lofty ambitions always, and I always cared, but I didn't care enough to be healthy enough to try to actually get it presented to people properly.
Yeah, for sure. For people that like want to get sober, because very often I have people in Ruin an Hour that say like, hey, like I wish I could stop drinking, or I wish I could stop using or doing whatever, whatever it is, I wish I could cut back. Like, what's the steps towards doing that? What would your advice be for people that want to kind of cut back or stop on anything?
It's hard for me to really say that. All I know is I'm very hesitant to give advice. I don't give advice. What I do is I know what worked for me, and I can speak on how I got clean. And it's kind of difficult because I didn't have the type of addiction where I could just be like, I want to slow down on my drinking. You know what I mean? Like, my addiction brought me to places where I'm under investigation by the LAPD, or I'm being incarcerated, or my family's completely cut me off, and I've stolen from them, and I'm doing things far outside of my character and modus operandi as human. Like, I'm not only selling drugs, but I'm robbing people, and I'm doing, you know what I mean? And I'm like living a life that's completely outside of anything that I envisioned for myself as a child. And I have threats on my life. My parents' house is getting shot up because people are so mad at me. You know what I mean? Like, I have people coming. Like, different gangs have hits out on me and shit. Like, this is like I got evicted multiple times, got divorced. My fiance wants to leave me. Like, these are the places where my addiction took me. It wasn't something as I don't want to say mundane, but it was way past the severity of just wanting to cut back on drinking. I literally needed to get to pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization to even attempt. I had to be completely beaten by life, have no options left, no moves left to bust. I needed complete desperation, like, in order to get clean. That's what worked for me. And I don't recommend people, hey, like, go get arrested and go fucking rob some gang members and, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not recommending that, but it was through my desperation and complete defeat that was the catalyst for my spiritual growth. And that's how I got to the point I'm at right now. It was through losing everything. Like, because, there's a lot of times I wanted to slow down, and I wish I had. If anything, hopefully I could be a testament to some of y'all. Like, you don't have to go through what I went through in order to get clean. You really don't. And when I had those inclinations of, let me slow down a little bit, let me, stop doing coke every day, stop drinking every day, have 4 drinks instead of 6, whatever it was, like, listen to that voice in my head and slow down. Like, if I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have had to go through that shit. And you don't have to, you don't have to get to that point. That's not me giving advice. That's just me just speaking from the heart, matter of factly, like, like, soul to soul communication. You don't have to go the route that I did and lose everything that I did and compromise everything that I had accomplished and done them at half measure, because everything that I did wasn't me operating at maximum capacity. And, every victory that I had kind of being tainted, every memory of everything that I accomplished having an asterisk next to it, and winding up falling apart completely. Like, oh, grind time's blowing up, it's going so well, but then it falls apart. And I could place blame on everybody else involved, but I have to look at my part. What did I do? Because me operating the way I am now, it's not going down like that. You know what I mean? Like, me getting involved in situations like the Ether event, it's not going to manifest in that way. It's not going down like that because I'm incapable of lying now. I'm capable of it, but I don't allow myself. I live a life of rigorous honesty now, so I wouldn't allow certain things to transpire to get to that point. Like, getting brought to go on tour in France and having these huge opportunities in music that I'm too fucked up to even, like, give a good performance on stage, and, like, not being losing my voice and not being my best version of myself. Like, you don't have to allow things like that to happen in order for you to get clean, or at least, I'd like to think that you don't, whoever you are. Like, and hopefully my dysfunction and rise from it subsequently through my sobriety, through my spirituality, that could be a testament to you. And hopefully somebody's looking at that as like, damn, I don't want to go that far down the scale. And if you unfortunately have, you see that there's a way out. And when you have got to that point and you are desperate and willing to go to any lengths to get clean, no matter what it takes, leaving your family for several months and being in a treatment center and going through the fucking fire like I did to get clean. Once you're at that point where you're willing to try anything, then know that you can, because I can and I did. And you know, like my album, the Hyams album that I just put out, lush1.bandcamp.com. Go cop that, because that's how I eat, please. That's me in the depths of that addiction, crying out for help, essentially. And it ends with me finding a way up out of it. And if I can do it, so can you. And that's what I would say to all these people that ask you these questions. I don't know, man. Like, it's different. Like, your addiction took you to different places than mine did, but you had, it seems like to me that you were desperate to get sober. You know, would you say that about yourself? Like, you felt that desperation. You didn't want to keep. You had burnt your life to the ground enough as to where you wanted to flip the script, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like my coming to God moment was definitely like I was like, wow, I just don't like who I am, and I'm not proud of who I am most of the time, and I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to be somebody who takes a lot of pride in who they are and leaves everybody and the world a better place rather than like just takes. So yeah, I definitely had to get to a really dark place as well, like a really bad place that I might, it might happen again. Who knows? I might be back there, but that's all about recovery and moving forward and being kind to yourself when you mess up. Like if you fall off the wagon, just get back up and try again, you know?
100%. And that's like, like we've talked about several times on here, like, it's not a matter of when I'm going to relapse. I'm sorry, it's not a matter of if I'm going to relapse. It's a matter of when I'm going to relapse. Because the dismal truth is, I am going to relapse unless I continue to work this program and stay strict on my regimen of sobriety and do what I have to do in order to prevent that from happening. Because if I start to get complacent, I'll be right back where I was. And I have a lot of homies, like, it's crazy. I was talking to one of my boys I went through treatment with. Out of the 60 or so people that I went through that program with, there's like about 5 of us who are still clean and sober. And
Wow.
that's ridiculously low, you would think, but compared, like, that's high compared to most treatment centers. Like, I
Yeah.
went to I went to like recovery boot camp, like the strong, like we were like, it's like this. And, you know, that treatment center, I'll compare it to like the knowledge that I got and the education on recovery and the 12 steps that I got, it's equivalent to going to Harvard. You know what I mean? Like, and you could go to Harvard, you could get into Harvard, like, and my years of addiction and fucking my life up and being a scumbag was equivalent to a kid studying to get into Harvard, let's say, right? And you get into Harvard and you have the access to the best education in the world and infinite resources and knowledge and opportunities. But if you don't go to class and you're, you know what I mean, just messing with chicks at frat parties and, you know what I mean, and like doing doing your non-scholastic shit and barely scraping by, or you're gonna fucking fail out, or you're gonna maybe somehow graduate and then but not gain anything from it. Like, when I was there, I immersed myself in trying to learn everything I could about myself, my addiction, my disease, the program, you know what I mean, the fellowship. And that is why I stayed sober, because so many of my homies that went through it with me, they're not here anymore. They're not sober anymore. And my best homie that I went through treatment with, he wound up relapsing a few months ago. And and it's crazy because, like, he started off, he was a bad heroin addict. Like, this dude, like, had shot up He had no veins left in his arm that he could even access. Like, he would shoot up between his toes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the next step is you shoot up in your nutsack, not to be graphic, but that's literally what winds up happening. You know what I mean? Like, he had shot up he had no veins left. He would look at my veins and it would be like me looking at a ribeye cooked rare, properly seasoned. It would just be like, oh man, I'm jealous of your veins. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, he felt like, and they say like the further down the scale of addiction you fall, because everybody's addictions have different level of severities, not on like some like competition level, but like just there's a difference between stage 4 metastasized cancer and like catching cancer in an early stage. Like, it's the same thing with addiction and his disease. Like, and they say however far down the scale you fall, you have to go that far equivalently in your recovery. You know what I mean? And he was a lot more complacent than I was as far as his recovery goes. And he wound up relapsing. He started smoking weed, and then he started drinking occasionally. And he said he tried cocaine. And I don't know exactly the extent. I don't even know if he's being fully transparent with his use with me, and that's okay. Like, I don't judge him regardless. My name ain't never been Judy, like I told him. You know what I mean? Like, and it started like for a while he stopped. We would talk like several times a week when we lived together in sober living for a couple months after I got out of treatment. And like, I consider him one of my best friends in the world. He knows things about me that people that I grew up with don't know. Like, we know each other because we literally walked through the fire together. And if it wasn't for this fool, I wouldn't have even stayed at that treatment center probably. You know what I mean? Like, we were late a lot. He's from my same neighborhood. We're both from West LA. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little younger than me. I'm not going to say his name, obviously. But that's my dog for life. But, he stopped communicating with me back in November. And we damn near went like over a month without talking, which is crazy for us. You know what I mean? That'd be like not talking to one of your boys for a year type shit. And I would text him, and I would hit him up and be like, yeah, I'll call you back. Da, 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 da. And then so I knew at that point something was off. And I talked to one of our mutual friends who still works at the treatment center that I went to, that he came through with me as well. And he was like, yeah, I don't know about bro. I'm a little bit worried. I don't know what's going on. And apparently he had relapsed. And he wound up being honest with me. He sent me a message like, hey, the reason why I haven't been talking to you is because I'm being a little bitch right now because I'm embarrassed because I went out. And we started talking again. And I was like, one of my first feelings I went through was jealousy. I was like, damn, this fool gets to smoke weed. Like, I wish I could fucking smoke weed. That would be amazing, especially out here in Philadelphia and the damn snow. That sounds so tight. I'll like, you know what I mean? Like, listen to some jazz or listen to like some fucking Pete Rock or, Mobb Deep or whatever and smoke a fat blunt to the face. Like, that sounds so tight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, and I was jealous. And then, and he was like, like, I was like, well, what's it like smoking weed, bro? Is it cool? Like, are you smoking Kush, bro? You know what I mean? Like, and he's all like, yeah, weed's great and all, but it's like, after you get all this recovery shit in your head, like, it hits different. It's not the same. And like, and this is something that he said that really stuck with me. He's like, if I could go back and do it over and not have relapsed, I would. Like, I'm not happy where I'm at. You know what I mean? And it subsequently, like, his life wound up, he's lucky that it hasn't completely fallen apart. He's doing all right, but he still has a job and shit for now. And who knows how far down the scale he's going to go if he doesn't wrangle it back in. But, like, his parents are really worried about him, and he's cut off from his family again. And he was lying and trying to pass drug tests and fucking do the shit that I was doing when I was in fucking high school and taking bottles of piss into the fucking urinalysis room and shit, trying to pass a drug test, and got caught. And you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, and he's not happy. Like, when he said that he's not happy having relapsed and he wished he could take that shit back, that really that resonated with me. That I was like, all right, it's cool. I'm not jealous of him that he gets to smoke weed. That's something that really rang true. And it's not easy, man. Like all the time, I have thoughts, I have urges, but I talk about it. I hold myself accountable, and I overall, like, it's not like my body's not craving it. I'm not going to be sick. Like when I first stopped using drugs, I was physically ill. They had to pump me full of anti-seizure medication and all this crazy shit just so I wouldn't be, you can fucking die, especially like certain drugs, benzodiazepines and alcohol. It's a potentially fatal withdrawal. And those were two of the worst drugs I was addicted to. So it was like, it was a dangerous situation. And I'm just glad that I'm here, man. And I'm glad that I still have a few marbles rolling around. And the fact that, like, if I don't kick this game to other people, if I don't share my experience, do what I'm doing right now, chopping it up with you and whoever happens to be catching this in the moment, like, this is how I'm staying sober. This, talking to other people, like, getting outside of myself, it's bigger than me. So if I'm struggling, if I'm in my head and I want to use, what do I need to do besides talk about it? I need to help somebody else. And when I do that, that gets me outside of my head, and I'm not fucking don't have my head so far up my ass. And I see, and that also is someone else's first step experience. It's someone else in the midst of a struggle. So I see what it's like after you fucking relapse and you're using again. And then it's like, damn, I don't want that shit. I don't need that. I'll lose everything. You feel me? Like, and this whole time I could have just been building a tall enough mountain for me to slide back down again. But if I slide down that mountain, best believe I'm hitting every rock on the way, breaking every single bone in my body. You know what I mean? Like Daylight said, I'll break 5,000 bones in my body. You know what I mean? Like, knowing that we have like 200 and something bones, like, I'm break 5,000 bones.
Word, man.
That was one of Daylight's reasons for missing a battle back in the day. Was he got in a train accident and broke over 5,000 bones in his body.
Yeah,
shouts to Daylight.
He has like the most legit reasons out of anybody I know. Very down to earth individual.
The three best excuses for missing a battle that I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll just run through them. Fuck it. So the first was I got attacked by a lion. He got attacked by a lion, so had to miss a battle. You can verify this with Fox. Yeah, so these are all jungle battles that he missed, jungle and grind time battles. Got attacked by a lion. Second was got in a train accident, train crash, and broke 5,000 bones in my body. And then the best one was I was dead for 11 days.
Holy shit, the goat. The fucking goat.
Yeah, the absolute undisputed goat, bro. I don't give a fuck, dude. No matter what. I ain't talked to Day in hella long, but he is a legend, especially for that, bro. Aside from all his amazing contributions in the realm of music and else, and to bring up Daylight, it's interesting because that dude, as all this amazing stuff he's done, he's never been on alcohol or drugs in his entire life. You know what I mean? Like, so it's interesting. There's dudes like that, and a lot of people you think you need in order to be a creative force. You think you need drugs and alcohol. It's actually the opposite. It dulls every creative sense that you have. You think, like, I thought that it was making me so brilliant, but I'm at the age I am right now, like, being creative, making music, being a rapper is different than playing sports. You're not in your prime when you're in your early 20s or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you teenager. It's not like that. It's not based on your physicality. You get better and better and better the older you get. Look at fucking Black Thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
50 years old. Raps better hands down than anyone in the world. Nobody, look at any of his verses, any of the, you know what I mean, like him on Flex, all that shit. Like, there's nobody in the world that raps better than Black Thought, hands down. I don't care. I would love to to have a discussion or debate with someone about that, because nobody is nicer than him, and he's gotten better. Like his music with the Roots, like Illadelph, Half Life, Do You Want More, Things Fall Apart, amazing albums that he made when he was in his 20s and early 30s, and like he was the man, but he is exponentially better as an artist now. And this is something that doesn't stop developing your creativity, your ability to express yourself, vocalize yourself. And, it's the senses have nothing to do with how you're like open due to drug use. Like for me, that it's a complete opposite. And at the age of 39, I'm creatively superior. I'm a better battle rap host, not to mention all the better human being and dependable friend. And when I tell Avocado I'm gonna be here at 3:30, I'm gonna be here at 3:30, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's like that was not me in the past.
Yeah, you were the first one to any event at the Grand Prix. You were there like far ahead of everybody.
It's because that's because it's because I have to be. You know what I mean? Like if I give you my word, any slight deviation from my word, like that's like the snowball effect to using. You know what I mean? I know it sounds corny. Like if I say that I'm gonna do, and like to the point where guess what? I was 2 minutes late for this thing right now. And if I didn't say that, me not holding myself accountable for acting like I'm perfect, and like that is me, that's addict behavior that leads to a relapse. And I know that me lying about 2 minutes might sound insignificant, but it's not. You know what I mean? Because that like small lies become fucking gargantuan monsters eventually and wind up consuming you and consuming me and stepping on my self-esteem to the point where I can't differentiate between the addict inside me and me, and I have no self-worth left, and that I'm using, so I have to stay hyper vigilant about that shit, dude.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, I'm so proud of you. Like, I can't tell you enough, like, how proud of you I am. I know that the battle rap community has seen the growth in you immensely. All I remember is, like, one of the first times, like, you came back and you were, I think it was, like, the first event when you were doing the commentary for the Grand Prix, just everybody was just commenting how healthy you looked. Just like, oh, my God, he looks so healthy. He looks so good. And that's just, like, the overwhelming support of this, like you said, this small empire that you played such a pivotal role in building from the ground up out of just you just wanting to do it. You weren't even like, oh, I'm going to do this battle rap shit to get rich or like for anything else other than like, I love this and I want to see this grow.
Yeah, it's just tight. Cool. Let's have some fun. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's why me and you get along so well, because like I see that in myself as well. It's like, I just like this and I want to just do more of it, so seeing you flourish and like just seeing the change in yourself, it's just been wonderful, man. Super proud of you.
And thank you so much, man. And like honestly, you were a huge inspiration. And like they say, no human power can restore me to sanity. Like no matter how much my girl saved my life, like she couldn't get me to stop. Nobody could. And even like but like you were definitely a beacon of light during dark times in my life, and seeing you, like you're a completely different person. You're the best version of yourself, and just operate on so much of a higher frequency. And it's crazy because even back then I thought you were a great dude, and we were always mad close and hella cool. But like to be able to vibe with you now, it's on a whole different level, and it feels amazing. And I'm equally proud of you, and I think everyone in battle rap. I was talking to Pass the other day actually, and we were talking about you since you got sober, and like he's like, Kyle is a completely different person. This dude that I'm friends with right now is not the guy that was getting faded, bringing a case of beer to every event, and that, like, not to say that we didn't love you back then too, but like that's not the guy that we're friends with today. And you know what I mean? Like it's everybody sees it, bro, and it's incredible to witness and influential. And you've touched a lot of lives, bro, mine included. And this platform is a godsend, and us in the creative field, especially in like this world of battle rap, people are, like we're no different than anybody else. This disease exists in every facet of existence. In the corporate world, it does not discriminate age, race, orientation, socioeconomic background. This disease lives everywhere. And I would say people that are into creative pursuits, if anything, have a higher propensity to fall into this type of thing because we feel things more and we deal with our emotions. And that leads to addiction on a higher scale. So this has been something that's so amazing for so many people, and I just encourage everybody out there to take advantage of Vernon Hour and Avocado's insight as a person and growth.
Dope, man. Thank you. Well, so your album's out on Bandcamp, so we can get it
Yeah,
now.
man. Get it right now. You feel me? If you want to wait till it's on Spotify, that's cool. But I appreciate people have been like, I've got a significant amount of support thus far, like damn near overwhelming. And every single sale, like this leads to me. Like I stand firm on the work. If you buy it and you don't like it, I'll send you your damn money back. You feel me? Like literally, because I'm that confident and I know you're gonna like it. And if you don't want to get the whole thing, you buy a few songs, whatever. I would encourage you to get the whole thing because it's audio cinema. I put it together. It's my life story. I did it like a movie, and you know, I want to give people the chance to support me directly because this is what puts food on my table. This is all that I get money from is this, and I'm looking to get some vinyl pressed up, hopefully, and this will be how I do it. So you know what I mean. Lush1.bandcamp.com. The album is called Hyams. You know what I mean, and yeah, run it up, baby.
Hell yeah, guys. Lush One, ladies and gents, thank you again for tuning in to Ruin an Hour. Supreme congratulations to Lush One for going a year sober. Here's to many more years. Hell yeah, guys.